Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. It's Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So today we are talking Love Island USA. Today we are talking about drama between CashApp and Trina from Love Island USA Season 3, you guys. There is a Twitter war that started last night that is continued through today, and it is a hot mess, you guys. It is a lot of stuff going on. It's messy. There is all types of shenanigans that are taking place, but I think there were issues brewing prior to last night, you guys. I think there were issues brewing prior to last night. And before we get into this, first let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do a deep dive and a full breakdown of all of the tweets and all of the messages and the responses back and forth between CashApp and Trina, so you can get the full account for those of you who may not have the full details of everything that took place last night as well as this morning. I can do a separate video for that as if you guys want to. However, in this video, I kind of just want to summarize what's taking place on both sides and everything else, and then just kind of give my take. But the first thing I want to say is this. It was evident to me how the cast felt about each other really during the show and also on these world tour dates, you guys. I didn't understand for the life of me with how toxic some of the fan base is as to, outside of the New York trip, which looked to be, somehow CBS was involved in some of, the comped hotel and some of the dinners and the events and this and that. Outside of that trip, I didn't understand why the Islanders were going on these other world tour trips. Like, if you're not cool with everybody, if everybody on said trip is not on good terms, why continue to have trips with the same group of people? Because in the one group, there was drama with the New York trip because it was allegedly supposed to be, Bailey and Jeremy working on things. And the next thing you know, Florida and Jeremy are a thing. She shows up there a few days early. We go to, I believe, Arizona. And there is drama in Arizona, apparently. And nobody sees Trina for most of the trip. She's like off doing interviews. She's like nowhere to be found. And then also we have the Friendsgiving trip that, again, there's drama allegedly with whether or not, Corey and Florida hooked up. And some of the Islanders found out. Some of the Islanders said to say something. Some said to say nothing. And Corey and Florida denied anything, only for it to come out to be true weeks later. And he was supposed to be in a relationship with Olivia at the time. So it's all a hot mess, you guys. But it was just so much drama. And then the LA trip, you guys, where Cinco was MIA. Cinco, showed up briefly and then was like nowhere to be found, until, much later, I think like the following day or something, the following evening or whatever, because he was like out with Amy and Johnny and stuff and like wanted no parts of this group trip, you guys. So I say all that to say these Islanders were never on good terms, right? And it's one thing to, interact and engage with your castmates from a reality show and keep things cordial, keep things professional. It's another going on these trips, spending time at these hotels and these Airbnbs and going out to eat and going out to these nightclubs together, knowing you truly don't really rock with them like that. Because things eventually brew, things eventually simmer. And I don't know if you guys remember, but Trina was the cast member that was receiving the death threats that were going to her sister and her friend that were running Trina's social media accounts. And they had stopped posting because the hate was just too overwhelming. So fast forward to last night. And basically, Trina, she is responding. She is retweeting basically a quote from Cash that was talking about how it's so weird that people you literally do not care about are so pressed with your life. I'm just existing. Let me be me. But the background of that is Trina had unfollowed CashApp from her Instagram account, right? And so then CashApp, I think a couple hours later or so, then unfollows Trina back and then posts this tweet. And it's like, well, why would Trina be obsessed with you if Trina is unfollowing you? Like make it make sense, right? And so then Trina, she quotes this particular tweet and says last night, I'm tired of the accusations and the harassment that you've made, all while victimizing yourself after I've confronted you about lying on my name and other things. And then it just pops off from there, you guys. Trina posts this thread of receipts of alleging that Cash is behind some of these burner accounts that are just vigorously attacking Trina, making all these wild accusations, taking every post or every story or whatever Trina posts and somehow tying it back to Cash and Cinco and even Charlie. Like, it was a lot, and it was just getting to ridiculous, you guys. It was getting ridiculous and out of hand. And I know there's going to be people with mixed reviews in the comments that some of you are going to be like, oh, this should have never been made public. Oh, this should have never been brought to Twitter and this and that. But here's the thing. Think about if you were in Trina's shoes. If you've been harassed for nearly a year and the show has ended almost a year ago and you have moved on, you have a new show coming out, you have other opportunities that are taking place, and still people are in your DMs about Love Island. People are still, spreading false narratives and everything else, and you are fed up. You are fed up with the hate. You are fed up with, the negativity. You've probably even blocked some of these accounts or what have you, but certain people just keep coming back up, right? Or coming back up with new burners, right? To keep talking spicy to you, to keep talking greasy to you, to see if you react. And so it gets to a point where it's like, okay, am I going to ignore this and maybe address this once when it's time to promote my show and do some interviews? Or am I just going to and just let this all hang out now and let the chips fall where they may? So originally, like I said, there's this long thread of receipts of, video receipts of the conversations that Trina posted, to where she identified in some of the comments that there were specific things like referencing Cash's brother Prince, that were specifically referencing certain things that if you were a part of the cast would know, or if there was something that was taking place behind the scenes you would know, that was a little sus that, they would be specifically DMing Trina about. So that is why Trina got suspicious and thought that this was Cash behind these burner accounts. And so then Cash, she makes a response that's like, oh, well, whoever this burner account so-and-so is, and she purposely misspells the person's name, can they come out wherever they are or whatever else? And literally, a couple minutes later, you guys, some person outs themselves, right? Some person outs themselves. I think they're called Just Be the Peace or something on Twitter. And they allege that they are behind this burner. But then there are people who are alleging that they're in a group chat with Cash A, and that she encouraged somebody or told somebody, hey, here's my login info to this account. Can you log in and claim that this is you? And say that this is you. So that's what somebody said, who I'm not sure if they got kicked out of that group chat, but they were at least lurking when that took place, allegedly, right? So that happens, and it just creates this whole stand where, you guys. And then again, Cash A, she says that she has receipts, you guys. So I'm up here thinking, okay, what is Cash A about to drop? Is Cash A about to drop some receipts that is going to refute what Trina is saying? Are you alleging that Trina has talked spicy about you? Are you going to drop those receipts? What are we dropping? So first she goes in and tweets about the leaked group chat. And I don't understand why Cash A keeps inserting herself into that group chat debacle when she was not discussed. But she keeps tweeting that she was discussed in the group chat, but she was not discussed in the group chat. So I don't know why she keeps making that about herself when she was not mentioned at all, and she is just going off of what certain people are telling her, but she never actually fact checked and read the group chat messages for herself to see, did allegedly Trina say anything about Cash A? She never validated that and just took whatever people said and ran with it. Trina never talked about Cash. Trina never mentioned Cash in the group chat. I think some people that were a part of that group chat were trying to get her to say something, and Trina took the high road. She did not say anything. And so I don't know why that's even being used as an argument when it had nothing to do with Cash. So she brings that up. And then she finally drops a receipt. But it was a weird receipt because it was a receipt about an interaction with Trina and her brother Prince of allegedly trying to, flirt or hook up or whatever. I don't know if this was in an attempt to slut shame Trina or if this is an attempt to try to ruin her reputation. I don't understand what that had to do with gossiping and talking negative about somebody under a burner account. I thought you were going to refute the argument with an actual receipt of Trina allegedly bashing you, but instead, you for some reason have in your possession screenshots from your brother flirting and talking spicy with Trina in some DMs or whatever, right? But if you look closely at the DMs, you could tell that there are things that were either deleted or were highlighted out or were unsent or something before it was screenshot and sent to Cash. So that told me everything I need to know, that you wanted to frame these messages to make it look as though Trina was thirsty and, begging you to hook up or whatever to fit some sort of narrative. But then today, Trina posts the receipts that say, hey, these are the original messages. These are the original texts that took place. And it was him that was simping. It was him that was, coming for me hard, that wanting to hook up and this and that. It was him that started all of the shenanigans. And so then it was weird because then this part I didn't understand either. Cash then starts tweeting about, oh, while you're doing this, I'm on the red carpet or whatever. And I was all confused because I'm like, well, what does having to be getting to go on a red carpet have to do with anything? Do you know how many people go on red carpets? I didn't understand that argument and what that had to do with anything other than you were basically kind of validating Trina's point that you do see yourself as somebody superior and trying to take her down and trying to be shady and, thinking that, you're running the show, that you're Rihanna or something. I don't know what's going on. But then also there were some other tweets about the show and Trina's show and alleging that the ratings are bad. And I didn't understand how the ratings can be bad for a show that hasn't aired yet, that doesn't come out for another 2 weeks. And why are you so pressed and obsessed about how many views or what is taking place on Trina's show if you truly are not bothered by Trina? If you are truly not obsessed with Trina, why would you care about her show? So it's comments like that that give credence to the things that Trina is saying when she is saying that you are obsessed with me, that you keep saying all these negative things about me, and then you make certain comments that allude to what Trina is saying. So the person who allegedly identifies themselves and claims that they are the person behind the burner accounts, they go on this Twitter space and Cash and her fans, they're all like, hey, it's a done deal, this and that. They've, revealed themselves. I'm not sure why we're still talking about it. But then after that, Cash continues to tweet. She says she's going to bed, but then she continues to tweet. And as she's tweeting, her words are matching exactly what Trina posted in the original screenshots. And I'm like, well, if it's not you and you have somebody saying that it's somebody else, but you're saying verbatim, and it's one thing to, say a catchphrase or something the same as somebody else, a popular catchphrase or a popular saying or popular slang or what have you. That's one thing, but it was direct messages, direct paragraphs in the tweet that matched what Trina was saying. Direct messages about other cast members, because that was the other part of it, was, there was harassing messages, I guess, also going to Cinco and Leslie as well. And then there's also some drama about allegedly, potentially, some things are going to come to fruition or happen on this CBS challenge show that's supposed to come out in July. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. But that was what was also being alleged. And so also, it's like, why would you continue to tweet if you already found somebody that basically said, hey, it was me, I'm behind these burner accounts, this and that? Although that was sketchy, because then you could tell certain things were doctored and altered, like the time zone, like certain screenshots. So it was like, they're getting very creative and crafty. Like, if you just said it was you, that's one thing. But why are we going to extra links to, like, really sell that it's you? That's when I was like, wait a minute, what is going on? And then Cash kept tweeting. And I'm like, why is she still tweeting if there is nothing, that she said allegedly? That if she is about women empowerment, and that she is about, everybody being cool and being supportive of each other, and that you're not messy, but then on the flip, you're liking messy tweets that are saying very disgusting things about Trina. So it's, again, giving that fuel that you are behind these burner accounts, right? And so then also, this whole thing where you said that you were done with reality TV, you were never going to do a reality TV show again, that Love Island USA traumatized you, that you wanted to focus on other things, that you wanted to focus on dancing and acting and this and that you are humble and you were just like your fans, and you wanted no parts of reality TV. You didn't want to be an influencer. You simply wanted to live your life and go back to school for dance and do all this stuff. But then when it was announced that Trina had a spinoff show, you posted this messy tweet that was like shady, and then deleted it and said, oh, I'm happy for Trina, there's no bad blood, and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, you throw out these subliminals, and then when people come for you, then you turn it around and, pretend that you're the victim here. So it was very weird. So the tweets and the back and forth is still going on, you guys. I believe there's like threads on Reddit, because it's like both sides, Cash's fan base, they're trying to push, certain narratives. And then Trina's fan base is like, no, these are the receipts. Trina is right. Blah, 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 blah. You're exposed. Because what happened was, Cash was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to log into my burner. She tweets this, you guys. She tweets that, okay, I guess I'm going to log into my burner, and I'm going to show you the messages that I'm sending to myself. I'm like, oh no, please don't do this. And so that whole thing was weird, because then you had fans that were tearing apart those messages and also trying to show, I guess, versus like the follow or unfollow, how it would work if you were like the burner account and this and that. And so that's why they were, trying to show, hey, wait a minute, maybe it is you behind these burner accounts. So it was weird. It was just, it's very weird, and what is my take? What do I think about all of this? Number one, I want to know what the other Islanders have to say. Can somebody, find out where they are? What they're doing? Did they just take a break off of social media, when all this took place? Because I know they know what's going on, right? So I know they know what's going on. I will say this. There clearly is a lot of issues and a lot of things that are taking place behind the scenes that we are not privy to, that in conjunction with this whole burner account fiasco has completely escalated beyond repair, you guys. Beyond repair. But the root of this issue really is dating back to the show, is really dating back to the triangle with Cinco. That's what this is all about, because even in the tweets, Cinco is being brought up about the breakup and why him and Cash broke up. and how Cash was, I guess being messy and talking spicy to the other Islanders, saying that Trina, I'm surprised she hasn't reached out to me, that, because her and Cinco broke up, and I guess people were, spreading rumors allegedly that Trina still had, feelings for Cinco and was gonna be with Cinco or with this and that, and I don't understand where that's coming from, because it's been, 6 months or so since Cash and Cinco have broken up, and we haven't heard anything about Trina and Cinco being together. Like, she's cool with them as far as him being her castmate. That's what she said on her Q&A the other day, that, like, her and Cinco are cool or whatever, that they're friends, but not this whole thing where they're in this full-blown relationship and that Cinco broke up with Cash and him and Trina are riding off into the sunset. Like, I don't know where that narrative is being pushed when Trina's not with Cinco. So that didn't make any sense to me either. And it just seemed as though there seems to be this obsession still with Trina and Cinco. And if it's not Cash that's behind this burner account and the alleged 3 other simultaneous burner accounts, then whoever is, it's very sus that you are basically spending an entire year almost going this hard at somebody that you cannot stand. I do not for the life of me understand why people do this. I never understand why you want to have notifications for somebody that you do not like, right? Why are you even following them or even engaging in their DMs and trying to get a reaction out of them? Make it make sense, you guys. Make it make sense. So there is that. So there's still a debate on whether or not it's Cash, because enough people at this point do not believe Cash as well. So it's still creating a back and forth in terms of people, saying, hey, like, I think you got exposed. I think that, some of these things are adding up with what was said in those messages. And now you're trying to backtrack or have somebody else take the fall so that you look like your hands are clean. And then somehow, once that got exposed, for whatever reason, the conversation pivoted to dragging Cinco and talking about Shannon and Olivia being Trump supporters and all this other stuff. And I didn't understand why. Like, I didn't understand why, now you guys are making this all about Cinco when the issue at hand is somebody is harassing Trina. Somebody is going on burner accounts and deliberately harassing Trina, saying disparaging things, saying specific things about, certain things that are going on behind the scenes that would lead one to think, okay, wait a minute. That person wouldn't know this unless they were an Islander or were talking to an Islander, right? So that was weird. And so we're just trying to get to the bottom of it. And so there's people, like I said, trying to push one way that it is Cash, another way that it's not Cash. But I will say it does, the one thing that is true is that most of the cast is not rocking with Cash right now. Like, no matter how you want to slice this, whether you're Team Cash or you're Team Trina, the one thing that is facts, and there were even receipts provided, the cast doesn't F with Cache. So you could either take that as Cache is the issue, and there's some other things that are taking place that we don't know about, or you could take that to mean what it will, right? And then also Cache threw Leslie under the bus, and Cache called Leslie two-faced. So I am wondering if Leslie is going to respond to that. If she is going to give a response to Cache calling her two-faced and saying that she twisted her words around. I wonder if Leslie is going to give a response to that. And so I don't know at this point if the other Islanders don't engage in this is because they don't want the wrath of Cache's fans. But on the flip side, I don't understand what is the point of, you feel the same things that Trina feels. And behind the scenes, according to what Trina posted, you guys are on the same page, but you guys are nowhere to be found. And I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, is it a setup? Like, is it a setup for Trina to get dragged? Like, was this what this was about? Or like, what was it? Was she being, encouraged to do this so that, it could cause like, a firestorm? Like what is the motive, you guys? What is the motive of this, to say your true feelings behind the scenes about somebody, but then you are nowhere to be found when these things are happening, when things hit the fan? And I don't understand why nearly a year later, why would you care about whether or not CashApp's fans attack you? So that I found very interesting as well. So it's like, so then that leads people now to believe, they're like, okay, are these islanders playing both sides to create conflict, to create drama? So it fuels the fire. It fuels additional conspiracy theories, you guys, that has all this back and forth, you guys. But I just don't understand why none of this could have just made the show. Like, we could have had a much better season if CashApp and just Trina just hashed it out on the show and just hashed out everything, so that it wasn't this fake nice friendship nonsense that nobody believed. And, CashApp calling Trina a psychopath in her s'more date interview. Like, it was like these little digs and these little jabs. But then you would get on social media and be like, oh no, Trina and I are cool. There's no bad blood there. There's no issues there. But then you're shading her and coming for her in these interviews. And it's like, well, there is bad blood there. So if there is bad blood there, why are you still pretending to like her or pretending to be cool with her? Why were you still following her in the first place? Like that didn't make any sense to me. Because you're tweeting about, Trina pulling you aside and asking why you didn't like her, but you're literally calling her names in these interviews. You're literally telling your fans all these things in these group chats, but yet you're trying to play as though you have no idea what Trina's talking about. But it seems there seems to be this fuel and this push behind the scenes of this obsession with Trina and Cinco and Leslie. And I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what the point of this is. The show ended almost a year ago, you guys. Like why are we still doing this? Why are we still doing this? So there is that. But I don't know if this is going to continue, or if, Trina has let everything out that she's going to let out and we are going to keep it moving. I do not know. But what I do know is that this was a hot mess. This was an absolute hot mess. And completely escalated, even got, Murad from across the pond, trying to get to the bottom of things and this and that. And I think in his review, he said that he felt that Trina's evidence was solid. He felt that Trina had solid receipts, as well as other Islanders backing up, whether or not they spoke publicly. She had their cosign. So he felt that regardless, that there was some truth to what Trina was saying and that she had a valid reason to be upset. So there is that. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Also, let me know, like I said, if you guys want me to do a deep dive and a breakdown of these tweets and these receipts, which will be probably a much longer video. But we can certainly do that if you want. If some of you are still even lost after this video that I felt was a little long. But I can definitely do that if you guys still need some clarification on some things. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.